So today, we're going to break down a really powerful and honestly timeless formula for making a persuasive case. This is a structure that's not just about sharing your ideas. It's about actually changing minds.
You ever have that feeling? You're in a meeting, you've done all your homework, you have this absolutely brilliant idea, but when you present it, it just kind of falls flat. You know it's a game changer, but it feels like nobody else in the room is coming along with you. So why does that happen?
Well, a lot of the time, the answer comes down to the goal of your presentation. See, most of us learn how to give informative presentations. The whole point is just to share information. You start at point A, and you end at point A, maybe with a few more facts in your head. But persuasion? That's totally different. It's all about change. It's about physically moving your audience from where they are, that's point A, to where you need them to be, point B.
And right there, that is the biggest mistake we make. We try to convince people using a structure that was only ever built to inform. You know the one. First, I'll cover this. Second, we'll look at that. And third, here's this other thing. Look, that's just a list. It's not a journey. And it doesn't create that psychological pull you need to actually change somebody's mind.
So what's the answer? Well, lucky for us, there's a classic, time-tested formula designed for exactly this. It's simple, it's incredibly powerful, and trust me, it just works.
The entire body of your persuasive pitch should be built on these three pillars, and in this exact order. First, you start with the problem. You have to establish why we need to do something now. Then you introduce your brilliant solution. And finally, you paint this incredible, vivid picture of the benefits, showing everyone the amazing future that's possible if they just say yes.
Now, you might see this pop up with different names. Problem might be called the need. Solution could be the plan. And benefits is often called visualization. But don't get hung up on the labels. The underlying psychology, that step-by-step journey, is always exactly the same.
And that's because this isn't just a logical checklist. It's an emotional journey. You're basically telling a story. You create tension with a problem, you bring relief with a solution, and then you deliver that happy ending with the benefits. It takes your listener on a complete and really satisfying ride.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's see how this thing actually works out in the wild. Let's look at a couple of classic examples so you can really see it in action.
And just so you know, this formula is nothing new. Not even close. Advertisers have been using this for decades, for one simple reason. It sells, and they got it from the world of public speaking, a tradition that you can trace all the way back over 2,000 years to Aristotle. I mean, come on. It's lasted this long because it's wired directly into how our brains work.
Okay, so think about any sports drink commercial you've ever seen. It always kicks off with the problem, right? The team's losing, the athletes are just drenched in sweat, they're exhausted, they're struggling, there's a huge challenge, and they just can't seem to overcome it.
And then the solution arrives. The hero of our story, the sports drink, shows up. The athletes take a drink, and you see that instant shift. That's the pivot point.
And finally, we get the benefits. Suddenly, those same tired athletes have this incredible burst of energy. They make the game-winning play, and then you see the celebration, the victory. The ad shows you that amazing outcome that happened because of the solution. See? Problem, solution, benefits. Simple.
Okay, so let's bring this into the office. How does this work in a professional setting? Let's take an internal pitch first. The problem your company is facing is declining market share. Your solution? A brand new marketing plan. But what's the real benefit you're selling to the bosses? It's growing the business, right? Now let's flip it to an external pitch. Your potential client's problem is that they just can't hire good people fast enough. Your agency's solution is to partner with them. And the ultimate benefits for them? They save a ton of time and money, and they can finally hit their growth goals. It's the same powerful story, just tailored to a different audience.
So you've laid out your perfect problem, solution, and benefits. The body of your argument is rock solid. But you can't just stop there and trail off. You have to finish with a bang to make sure that message sticks and, this is the most important part, actually gets people to do something. A great persuasive ending has a few jobs it needs to do. First, you gotta signal you're wrapping up. Simple stuff. Then, repeat your single most important takeaway, your bottom line. You can do a super quick recap if you want, but the next part is absolutely critical, a clear call to action. And then, you wrap it all up with a clincher, a powerful, memorable final thought that ties everything together.
And I really want to double down on this one, because it's literally the entire point. A call to action in a persuasive speech is not optional, it is mandatory. The whole reason you're speaking is to get the audience to do something, to approve your budget, to sign the contract, to try a new way of working. You have to spell out exactly what you want them to do next.
So here's the bottom line on this. You need to plan your ending just as carefully as you plan your opening.
You started with a strong hook to get their attention, right? Well, you need to end with a strong clincher that leaves a lasting impression. You got to finish on a high note, full of energy and purpose, not with a whimper.
So there you have it, the classic framework that's been used to shape the world for centuries, from the assemblies of ancient Greece to the boardrooms of today. You've got the formula, so the only real question left is, what are you going to do with it? What change will you inspire?